Okay, let's call the ARB meeting for February to order. Roll call, please.
Canty?
Here.
Day?
Here.
Larson?
Here.
Edwards?
Here.
Cavazos?
Here.
Good. We got a quorum. We'll go for the Pledge of Allegiance. Who would like to take honors?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start this meeting off with meeting minutes. You guys had a chance to look at last month's meeting notes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 17th, 2018 monthly meeting.
Second. Okay, you got a motion and a second. Any discussions before we vote? Everyone's good with it? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay. And you get to make note of that, right? Okay. Okay,
Oh, no, I didn't abstain. I voted aye.
right, but we got to make note you weren't in the meeting, so.
Oh, okay.
You can vote to approve it.
Okay, got it.
Can you correct my name on page 4?
Yes, I can.
Madhu.
That's the D and H?
Yes.
All right, I'll go.
She was typing too fast.
That's what it was. Got it.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, citizens' time. Do we have any citizens out there who want to make any comments to the ARB associated with nothing associated with the COAs and the past business tonight? Okay. So that puts us on to the first COA, ZP 2018-003.
Good evening. So first up, we have the Shops at Haymarket is applying for a new menu sign that'll go on their sign easement outside of the McDonald's. So if you flip to page 13, you can see the actual photo of where this sign would go. Currently, there's a dance sign right there, and this will come down, and the new one will go up in place. The sign that they're looking at doing is on page 11. The side pieces, the poles will be green. It'll have Food Lion at the top along with Shops at Haymarket and then the businesses. But I'm going to invite the applicant to come up and discuss it more with you guys and answer any questions you may have regarding
Good.
Hello.
push button on the microphone, it'll light up green for you. You might have to-
Nope.
There you go.
That's fast.
Hi, I'm Deborah Heavener. I'm one of the on-site managers at the Shops at Haymarket.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm here, I'm one of the managers also. We're new at this, so you guys throw it at us and hopefully we have the answers.
So there was never a sign package when the shopping center went in, a sign, that's what it's called, right? My mind just went, a sign
Sign
plan,
package,
thank
sign
you.
plan.
We have to check the records. Not that I know of.
Okay,
I've,
all right.
I've been there for the last 3 years.
Okay.
So, when you say that from the start of the shopping center?
Right.
Okay,
We're right.
I'm pretty sure there is, but, we're there 15 years ago.
Because whatever, if, I'm guessing that whatever we do here would replace that sign plan,
Yes.
except for what's on top of the stores. Do you understand what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes,
Yeah, okay. And then, does it say what color this is?
I do have a question. There's a picture on page 10 and there's a picture on page 11, but they're different.
Okay, I don't know which
which pages you have, but this is the
This
one
is
we're
the
gonna
current
do.
with the flat
Yeah,
top
that's the
versus
one.
the,
What is this version?
that's a version that was submitted,
But we went
but
with
the
this one.
sign-
We're
the
working with
sign-
Shane Signs.
Shane Signs designed this one, so I'm not sure why that one got in the package.
So we don't want that
Right,
page
yes.
10 one, okay.
I actually prefer that one.
So, actually, so do I.
Yeah,
But he
because
said
I
he
like the
did-
shape of the sign because it looks similar to
The
some
other
of the other
signs,
signs in
yes.
town.
Well, I might be able to work on that with him,
Mm-hmm.
but he was trying to get all the tenants in with the specifications of how big the sign
You know,
can
the
be.
dimension that you guys allow.
Right.
Yeah.
He said that.
I
And I
also,
think the height with the, and the amount of tenants we have, I think that's why. it
That's why
looks
this,
so flat.
yeah, this sign here would work better with the amount of tenants and the sizes.
I also don't like the font at the top. Is that something that,
Is that little
That's
thing?
interchangeable.
Yeah, that thing,
Yeah.
we're not gonna have that on there. I don't know why he put that
No,
on
he's
there.
just talking about this.
Oh, that,
just the
okay.
shops at Haymarket
Yes.
font?
That's whatever you guys want.
Yeah, I think we put it down here, the font style, California FB, wasn't that
What do you
what we
prefer?
decided?
We have a list of approved fonts in
Oh,
our,
perfect.
that you can
We'll
choose.
get that.
Yeah.
So I went through with Deborah
Yeah.
the other day on this. Page 9, the font style would be the Californian FB, and it is one of our approved fonts.
Okay.
I can pass this up there if you guys would like.
That font.
Back here.
I have a question for Emily when she comes back.
Unhinged.
I can't remember if the sign height is just the sign or the post too. You know, like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we can talk to Shane Signs about, because I actually prefer the first one you submitted also, just the shape of it, to see if something, you know, just everybody wants a certain amount of signage, you know, the tenants, and especially food,
Right.
they have to have a larger percent.
Correct, yeah.
Sure.
So just trying to get it in, I think that's why we changed the original.
Emily, I have one question for you, and I know this is out of our purview, but it might help them with the design of the sign.
Okay, great.
What, for the dimensions of the sign, I know there's a certain dimension for a menu sign. Does that include the structure that holds the sign, like the posts?
It does not, so it
So,
will include,
see.
if you look at page 11,
Mhm.
that dimension will only include what you see here in the middle.
Right.
It excludes your 2 poles.
So I don't know if that will help you with the
Okay,
size, that you don't have to include the posts, even,
for the middle.
right, as far as the height.
So you could have it, and you can play with the dimensions, but as we spoke previously, 6 feet wide and 6 feet high will get you the maximum 36, and then that's
36,
where
yeah.
it stops.
Okay, thank you.
And then the overall height of the structure from the ground up to the top finial will have to be maximum 15.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So that might help you
Yes,
with the,
thank you.
you're welcome. I just remember that from another sign, and like, you're actually allowed to have a bigger sign, so take advantage of it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Yes. Like I said, we're just, we're new at this and we're learning too, and
Okay.
we're just,
I guess we'll see you again.
trying to get the sign,
Sounds
yeah.
like.
The other question I had was, I know that there was an issue that we had sent notification to them about the fence on the property needing to be fixed.
We did fix that, when Marshawn Snyder was here. They asked us to remove a portion of the fence, which was done, and that's the last we've heard of that.
Okay.
Okay.
It
We just need to make sure that everything is,
Okay, yeah, if they want to meet with me, I can show them where we removed that fence.
okay.
Yeah, you guys did send us
If
a
it's
letter
not
and we
raining
removed
at the
that.
end of the week, we can meet down.
Okay, that sounds
Sorry.
great.
Yeah.
So, then,
Yeah, and you also have a Food Lion sign on the other side of the entryway.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what the ordinances are for marquee signs on whether you can have 2 of them up or or what's going on? That would be a question for
Those
planning.
signs you can have two, but they have to be on two separate road frontages. They could have one on the Washington Street side,
Mhm.
and then they can have one on the Route 15 side. But the two, this new one proposed and the Food Lion one that's there on either side of the drive access will not be allowed. You have to have one or the other.
Okay.
So, and I had mentioned that right before the meeting to them. And
Yes, she did.
they
So
were-
we're gonna be working on that also.
Yeah, we tried to get a hold of the owners, but unfortunately they didn't answer.
Like
the
you
phone.
said, this is, you know, we're all new at this and we're learning.
Right.
Y'all are helping us out.
And then they have they know the color palette, Emily, for the, okay, so they have all
Now,
that.
Okay, let's ask that, is the color palette approved that's currently on there, which is green and,
So on the back of the sheet, page 12, you can't quite see it's in black and white, but it does have circled there at the top, paint green, and then I believe down lower, the optional accessories were a copper color. So I can give them the exact color code of our Hanover
Yes.
green. I'm working on actually getting
Oh,
that.
the Hanover
I
green.
started today on that, so,
Okay,
Oh, so it's a certain acrylic green.
yeah,
Cer-
and
Okay,
I'll give you that paint chip and everything for
Okay.
you. The company that used to make it needed
Okay.
to update it, so forth,
Thank
so
you.
on.
well, let me ask one question then. So the posts are definitely gonna be green, and then so where the lettering does that have to be a particular color also? Does that have to be tan, white?
I'm trying to think of the other
Yeah, I've seen
signs
white
that we've
and
had. I
tan
think they're
around.
Because
mostly
I have a
white.
picture of, one
Okay.
sign, it looks white.
sometimes they look,
Green or the background?
the background, yeah.
Let me give you this one. I don't have the color copies.
So when we get together with the
Of all the nights, I forgot my notebook.
exactly what color that background
Right.
needs to be.
Somewhere in there, there's all the menu board signs that
Mhm.
are in town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
I think that was like section 6.
yeah, I'm gonna have to.
of all the nights, I forgot my notebook. There they are.
Yeah, right here.
And I
So
believe
mostly
ours
white
right
and-
out front here in the front lawn is Shelley just green, right? The lettering,
But the background is white.
the background is all white.
Like an ivory or
Mhm.
something, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine with me, right?
Is the Food Line sign, is the background, I'm trying to think of the building, is it like a creamier color? The
No,
signs
the-
that are over there, are
The
they white?
individual signs on the building are white, aren't they?
Yes,
Okay, so
Yeah.
probably white
The
then.
individual letter signs above the
White,
businesses.
yes, they're
Yes.
white and they light up at night. some of
Right.
them.
If you flip through that book, I believe there's a frontage of Food Lion there as well. And some of the other shops that are down there. It's in one of
That's
the-
it, right there,
Yeah.
the cleaners.
Yeah, I would definitely do white.
Yeah. Background.
Okay,
I like white. Okay.
yeah, that'll look good with the green.
Mm-hmm.
Where's this one from? Oh, that's across the street. Right.
A question just on these dimensions.
Mm-hmm,
On the first one where we have that arch,
mm-hmm.
that's included, because there is lettering in that arch area. So that is included in the 6x6 area that's allowed for lettering. You know, 'cause, I mean, I'm just looking at this other sign, this arch here.
I see what you're saying.
So, 'cause you.
I see what you're
so
saying.
we have more worded, wordage, I need to know.
Unless you make the top of the sign and then you start your,
Well, I mean, if
Right.
this particular top, the original that we gave,
mhm.
I like that better, myself, I think it's more appeasing to the eye. So, but I wanna know if that's included in the sign.
So if you do this sign, we would ask that you take Food Line off of here and drop it down to here, and then your new dimensions would be,
This sign right here is has lettering up here. That's what I'm saying, why would we
right,
need to drop
so
it
this
down?
one is smaller, and so here, am I drawing this?
Here's the picture.
Okay, so here, this
Of what?
is the 6
Your
foot.
signs,
I think
where are
this
they?
is smaller, this one I think is actually 4 feet.
But
So here, then the dimensions from this point
It was a
down to
little.
the bottom,
That's 6 feet.
that's gonna need to be 6 feet if you have this here. So theirs is smaller than the 6 by 6.
Right, but that's why, so this is included if we want to keep food line there, which I'm sure they want to be a top. Okay, all right, thank you. Just so you can get the correct, size of the lettering and everything.
And then if we do a sign plan, then if you would get a new tenant in, they don't have to come and get the approval to change their name out. It's just something, you've already gotten it approved, you just put in a new name according to the specifications. So
Right.
you wouldn't have to come. I mean, hopefully no one's leaving, but, you know.
Yeah, I
and-
know that. Yeah, we're trying hard to keep them.
If you,
How many tenants in there now? On the
Well,
12?
yeah.
Okay.
what if you did 3 columns instead of 2?
But
I think that would make the lettering quite
Too small?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The tenants, I mean, they're all
Okay.
happy with the
Okay.
size of the lettering now, but I think anything's better than nothing, so.
I was
Well,
just
yeah,
thinking
it's gonna
because you
be
might be
right
able
there
to
on the
fit a
road.
little bit
Yeah,
more.
certainly ask Shane Signs about that, we can get them to draw something up and see if, the owners like it, but I think probably the 2 columns would be the
Okay.
best.
Small, yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
know.
Sure.
What are they looking for? Are they looking just for guidance to go back and talk to their sign person? or-
Obviously, we're gonna.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. That's
Well,
what,
actually, we were
Sounds like
trying to
this
get
will
the
be
sign
tabled
approved.
till next
we're,
month.
obviously, we're not yeah, ready for that. we're learning.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
there's nothing wrong with that, everybody has to learn. We
Did-
just
oh,
needed to
absolutely.
know what you all needed to
From
go
us.
forward after today.
Perfect.
Do you have any other questions for us?
I don't think so, I think we've got the post, the background, the actual size where we can have signage.
Right.
Change the shape. And then we'll find out about the other sign. Yeah, we'll find out about removing the existing food line sign. So
Okay.
I guess when we get all that back and gathered up, we'll.
come back.
I'll-
Let Emily know.
Emily.
And you can meet with me if you need a call, we can set up a meeting, email, I'm here.
Thank you, yes, she's
So,
been helping me out, because this
anytime.
is all new to us.
Yeah, thank you.
We just really appreciate it, giving us all your time
And thanks for the
tonight.
input. I do like this design better, but, we never know
You don't know.
what's allowed.
Okay,
Perfect.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
and
Thank you.
we can get together and
Yeah.
go up there and,
Absolutely.
I'll give you a call. Is that okay?
Yes.
Or I'll stop in.
Perfect.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have a good evening.
Two.
We need a motion.
Bye-bye, you all have a good night.
Yeah, this,
I make a motion to table COA 2018-003 for the Shops at Haymarket menu sign until the next regularly scheduled meeting.
okay, I got a motion and a second discussion. That kind of puts us on the, to deal with this. I guess I'll need you to make sure that they're prepared by next month, because we would have to address it next
Yeah,
month.
if they're not ready, then we can just defer it again, probably, right?
Yeah, well, I think we got like 90 days of deferrals, and then we got to take action.
Right, right.
So,
I think they
okay,
want to get moving, so.
yeah. Okay, that's all I wanted to make note of. Any questions? Anybody else?
Do we have to
Okay.
vote?
Yes.
Sorry. Do we vote?
So, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll move on. Now we're looking at ZP 2008-004.
So on page, on page 17, I've given you a brief little staff report on what Ms. Smith would like to talk to you guys about tonight. She's going to give an update on the home, the progress, and then some items that she would like to request approval. So I will actually begin.
Hi, everybody. It's Rosanna Smith. Again, nice to see you all.
Nice to see you.
So you might remember the house on Madison Street, changed the roof line.
It's looking great, by the way.
Oh,
I go
good.
by all
Have
the
you been by?
time. Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're excited. We're working on plumbing right now inside, and basically just wanted to ask for a couple updates. We're getting to the point where I'm getting excited about the outside and wanted to talk to you about the porch. I went back to our original document, and I think in the original document we had indicated we wanted to keep the old galvanized metal roof on the porch, and we've since discovered that it's got rust underneath. And so we just wanted to request approval to change it out as well to match the roof on the house itself.
Okay.
It's gonna be galvanized metal, it'll be tin, standing seam tin roof. So as close to the original as possible.
Okay.
So that was that, okay, good. And then, another thing, I don't think we never had like a specific, number about this in the original, but you had asked if it was gonna be a window or a gable in the facade of the roof. Somebody had asked that, because we had differing pictures in the original document. And, you probably remember, we didn't know at the time, we just thought we would do a vent. But because there was a picture of a vent, I wanted to come back and ask for approval to change it to a window now, because there's venting in the roof, which I didn't know we were gonna have at the time. And we thought we could get a window to allow a little bit of natural light. The contractor has found a small space that he could carve out for attic storage up in that area. And so I thought having natural light in that area would be nice to have. So I'd like to request approval to change the vent to a window instead. And the window will match the other windows, it'll just be smaller, about 20 inches by 30 inches. White, same matching brand, all of that good stuff. Does that sound good? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's okay. Have you thought about maybe doing like an octagonal window there? You are going to do the running slats on the lower part and the shingle style on top, right?
Right.
So that kind of gives you a
contrast.
separation, so, you know, even if you wanted to do like an octagonal window, that would be appropriate.
Would that be, okay, I mean,
If you wanted to try and keep that circular element in there, that octagonal will get you close. Either one would look fine. I walked by it today, and
Oh, you
it's
did?
really looking good.
oh, I love that you guys are checking it out, good. No, it's good, that's nice, thank you.
But, yeah, that's a personal preference of mine. I would think the octagonal would look good, but it's not necessary to,
Okay.
for the element of the house.
Do you know what would be, well, I was trying to be consistent with the windows, which is why we ended up going also with the window, having the same, just smaller, and sort of repeating it over and over again.
The only thing is probably if you had the octagonal, it wouldn't open.
Well, I
Would
think
just
she
be-
wanted a closed window
Oh, you're just
anyway.
gonna have it
It
stationary?
won't open, it's a stationary
Oh,
window
gotcha,
anyway,
okay.
because it'll be smaller. I don't know why, I asked Nathan that, the contractor, but he said that would be the type that you want up there. You don't wanna have a window that, I don't know why. It's not a fire escape, I guess.
Right.
So, but I'll bring that up to my husband. So would either one be approved then, if we wanted to do an octagonal window or a rectangular window?
We can
Did
put
you
that,
want to?
we can put that in the,
Is that okay?
the COA.
Okay, that would be
If
nice.
everyone else is
You
happy
know how
with
I am, I
that.
like having choices. Thank you. And then lastly, the porch lights. Okay, so I'm all over the place with porch lights. In fact, it was really hard for me to narrow it down for this, but I knew I just needed to decide. So I picked these two options. I thought both would be appropriate for the house. They're about the same size, about 10.5 inches tall. Oh, actually, one's 13 inches tall from top to bottom. And I didn't know if you had any questions on either of them, or a preference or suggestion, or a reason why one would be better than the other.
I like them both. I think I have the top one on my front porch,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
but I think they're both really pretty.
And it looked like what you have on the porch right now is similar to the top one.
So actually, Nathan brought that out of his inventory, the contractor, and I was like, I already submitted the paperwork. What are you doing to me? So
Well,
it is very similar to that. It just has a couple curlicues of
Yeah.
the iron at the top. But
Yeah.
if we did those, I would submit a updated,
Yeah, that would be fine. My recommendation would be to go with the top one, mainly because you said you were going to put in LED task lighting type of things up above.
oh, yeah,
This,
sorry.
this at least shines light outward, so, you know, it at least radiates out into your yard to keep
Safety.
anybody, safety, anybody
yeah.
on the curbside or anything.
That's a good
Pretty
point.
dark
So,
down your street
um,
too,
yeah.
I mean, at night, so.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice, it's
It is.
almost the country.
The other
You're
light-
almost there.
Yeah, the other light would be strictly downward, so it really wouldn't have much of a radiation out to just give you general lighting.
Right.
So-
True.
But what about, do you think the recessed lights in the soffit, or is it soffit?
That's
In the
soffit,
ceiling?
yeah.
Would that not be sufficient lighting to light up like the whole porch?
For like task lighting purposes on the porch, yeah. I don't know if you were going to have them on the same circuit, or if you were going to have two different switches.
No, you can turn on one or the other, or both.
Yeah, so, you know, this might be your general light that you keep on most of the times, and then when you're sitting on the porch or doing something on the porch,
Right,
you can flip the LEDs for your task lighting.
okay. Well, I like that suggestion. Thank you.
Mhm.
So then, there's one that I didn't include in the document, but so you know when you guys do shopping on Amazon and they are watching you, so they send you more
They're
suggestions?
stalking you, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I found another one. Is it allowed to show it and I didn't make any copies, it's not in your packet, I can pass it around. It's yet another
I
option.
don't care, do you care?
Do you mind if I pass it around?
Yeah, you can.
Why is that?
I'll show it to you all. And it's not that color, it's bronze.
Bronze, the darker, yeah.
Yes, the darker bronze. And it's similar to the second one, so it wouldn't do what you're suggesting, it wouldn't have light out. But the story behind this one is that it's reminiscent of railroad properties, of houses near railroads. Or maybe it was the railroad station. And so, of course, I was like, what?
Oh, I like that.
Because we're right near the railroad station. And so I didn't know if this one would be allowed
That's really cute.
Yeah.
I like all of
as
them.
well.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of them.
No, either do I.
We should probably give that back to her.
I've got it.
They
You-
probably
you
already
got
wanna
this
added
keep
it.
it as
This
part of
might
the
be good
record, or
for
I'll give it-
record, yeah.
I'll give it to Emily, yeah. Sorry about that, Emily.
It's okay. You can keep it.
If you want me to put it in with the packet?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And so it's getting very exciting, you guys.
Very
So
exciting.
excited. So yeah, so that's it. That's all we have right now.
Okay.
We're still, I think the siding's coming in, so next week, hopefully, you guys should come by and check it out.
The weather's getting nicer, so we walk more, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, and just, I guess, for an understanding, the seam roof that you're putting on the porch, it's going to be matching the
Exact
same
same.
color?
Exact
So you're
same.
not going to try and
No,
accentuate
no,
it?
no,
Okay.
no contrasting it, not gonna make anything crazy. No.
Okay.
Oh, and the galvanized, that's what the original one was. We looked and picked underneath the paint, picked underneath it, so, I'm just excited. It's fun to discover,
new things.
things about the house. Mm-hmm.
If there's anything you want to donate to the museum, we'll always take it too, if you find any little treasures.
Yeah, I mentioned in the write-up that I found Nathan found remnants of wallpaper, which I will be donating to
Oh.
the museum or wherever it ought to go.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's so cool.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah,
You guys are gonna live there, right?
so we don't know.
Oh, you don't?
Somebody just asked me that too, yeah, we don't know. We might, it might be too big for us. We live in a tiny little house right now, but I'd like to, hopefully.
Put so much
But we're
heart
not
into it,
planning on
it's hard.
selling it. We're too attached now.
I was just going to say, put so much into it.
It's, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Do you guys have any more questions for me?
I do not.
I
And,
do, you good?
well, good?
Y'all make me so easy, so easy, thank you.
Okay, I make a motion to approve certificate of appropriateness, zoning permit 2018-004 for 6760 Madison Street for the porch roof to match the roof on the main house, to replace the vent with a stationary window, either of rectangular or octagonal, And any of the three choices for lighting for the front porch are acceptable. Did I get that all?
I think so.
Okay.
In addition to the recessed lights.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You got a motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Last chance for discussion. Anybody have any more questions? Okay, we'll go for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good to go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, next.
This would be one of our neighbors.
Okay, so.
Now we have the ZP 2018-005 property right across the street.
Yes. So we have Jason Scott here to talk to us about his fence application. So if you look at page 24 is my staff report. If you flip to page 27, the fence will go along the front of the driveway, the gate along the side of the property and the back, and it will meet up with the neighbor's existing fence. He's matching the existing fence that the neighbors already have in place, and you can see pictures of that after, so I will turn it over to him.
Good evening, Jason Scott.
Hi.
Pretty self-explanatory. Two adjacent neighbors have the same style picket fence. I'm just going to match that.
Perfect. Even the ones that the neighbors have?
They could have been up for a long time. Right?
Right. I'm assuming you're going to keep it natural color,
Yes, sir.
just treating on it.
Okay.
Personally.
It's not an approved, the picket style is not approved, but because it matches the other fences.
Yeah, that's what I've
Right.
walked by there.
I mean, it's on a side street, it's not on the main street. So. I think that's fine.
Anybody have any questions?
Fine with me.
Ready?
I make a motion to approve zoning permit number 2018-005.
Second?
Okay, we got a second, motion and a second. To open up for discussion, I would like to put on record, well, we haven't voted on it yet. I'd like to put on record that this is not a typical style that is within our design guidelines, but because of the situation of the neighboring fences, this would be just a continuation where we feel the exception is appropriate for this to be approved. So we will take a vote on it and see if it is approved. Okay, got any other questions before we go on? Okay, we'll put it up for vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Now you can thank us.
Happy fencing.
You always got to put that
I
rule in
thank you
there,
for doing
so-
that.
Thank you, Ken, for keeping us on track.
I know, for keeping us in line. Okay, so next we are, oh, the free library, she's on here. Okay.
Can I just say, yeah, I read and looked at the pictures, and I think it's a really cute idea. I would just like to see like exactly what she is planning on building, like the size, the look of it, the colors,
So,
everything.
so Casey wanted to come and talk to you guys about that and get ideas from what we as the town want to see.
Do we want to
So-
tell everybody in the audience what we're talking about, because I don't think
Yeah,
they have
I
an
think we
agenda,
need to make
sorry.
sure
we're-
we note the
So,
agenda item
We're
and everything.
discussing the Little Free Library application 2018-006. So Casey has offered to donate a Little Free Library structure to the town. Originally, she wanted to place it on the green out here, right by the mailbox, but we asked that maybe she consider the museum property. There's benches over there, small patio, You might get more foot traffic, it's just a little closer to the sidewalk, we see more people walking on that side of the sidewalk. And so she presented us with this letter. She wants to donate the structure, she wants to care for it, maintain it, and is even going to align it so if she's out of town and an emergency happens, she has someone, who can come take care of it for us. So that agreement will be taken care of through just town staff and her on the maintenance and the care. But she also submitted these pictures, so these are just ideas that she thought of, some that she liked, but she really wanted to come before you guys and ask you, what style do you like, what colors do you want to see, what kind of rooftop do you want on it. So she really wanted tonight to be about kind of talking about it with you guys, and then we finalize the decision later at another meeting. So if you have recommendations, I believe that she is sick and couldn't make the meeting, so I will pass them along to her, and I will have her come back at our March meeting so that she can introduce herself to you guys, and you guys can also talk with her in person.
Yeah, I would like to talk with her to see what
Okay.
her affiliation is with the county libraries, to see if she actually has a circulation that she can do with the library for rotating the books and all that stuff.
I think they're
think they're
just like donated
donated.
books. And I think like the community can contribute, am I right? And
And you register them all online, so on the side of it, it'll kind of actually have like a little bumper sticker thing that says like I'm a Little Free Library, littlefreelibrary.org, and then you can go in and you can actually check on the structure, see who maintains it, books, things like that. So it's all kind of in this database. So you can also find them via the website. If you look at the top of page 39, you'll see some of those little stickers on there. So that's the organization, but she would be solely in charge of maintaining the books and making sure they're all appropriate, what books are in there, and kind of starting that for us.
I personally think they need to have some kind of a closure because of weather.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I like this one the
Yeah,
best, but
me
I
too.
would say like, and I don't know what you guys think of this, but maybe having it inspired by one of the buildings, either by the museum. So doing like the same colors, something like that might be
where
nice.
it's gonna be.
So like in this case, the one you're choosing would be the,
Top right.
yeah, like having the top maybe painted a green color to, since I'm assuming that is going to go in that little courtyard next to the library.
Right.
So we want to make sure that it looks nice up against our museum. Maybe we match the colors of the museum. As Bond mentioned, depends on how handy or who's going to make the structure. She could maybe even model it after the museum or another
That's what I would do.
historic building in town. Just basic structure, but still we could get the colors right. And then definitely each of them have a glass door. I know some of them are harder to see, but we'll want to ensure it has a good door to seal so that nothing.
From the weather.
And the hardware too, like I would try to have it the same as the front door in the museum, like the colors. If,
Yeah.
The finish on it, yeah.
But I think it's a really, really neat idea,
I do too.
and I love that she brought it
Yeah.
forward.
I will reach out to her, make sure she's doing well, and talk to her about the structure and what you guys have recommended tonight. I'll have her watch the little meeting, and then we can bring it back next month to finalize everything.
Okay.
So she's planning to put the bench to study in there, or?
There are
The
benches.
benches are there.
Oh, there are benches,
And
oh.
then there's 2 Civil War signs, so it's 2 benches, 2 Civil War signs, and then the structure would go somewhere in that area back there, so that if somebody wanted to walk up, read a book with their child, they could just sit and read.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, one day we'll get one down at the park too.
Yeah.
One on either end, so.
That would be so neat.
So do we need to table this?
Yeah, since it is a COA.
Okay. I make a motion to table ZP 2018-006, Little Free Library, until our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Last chance for discussions. Okay, put it up for vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Table that guy. Write those down.
Time for the shop fence.
Okay.
All that hard work, right?
Now we're back to old business. First agenda item under old business is 6748 Blight Dry amendment for the fence application.
Yes, thank you for having me back. Kathy Shelby, Vincent Shelby. And thank you, Emily, for helping me work through this. So you approved our last fence design, and simultaneously, we had submitted the same proposal to our HOA, and we had actually reviewed our HOA docs, but we did miss the part where they said, and it wasn't under the fence section, it was in another section, that the fences needed to be, or should be, or are required to be in wood, pressure-treated wood. So, you know, we felt that that really wasn't a good look for our house, being the structure that it is, the craftsman, the location, all of that. We were taking into consideration the community, like the adjoining community, not the back neighborhood where there are wooden fences
Right, and
there.
your houses weren't even considered when
They
those
were
houses,
considered,
yeah.
it's a different street, different architectural style, newer home, different location. So, anyway, we went back and forth, and since we submitted, and I had some questions for Emily, and she helped me out, and our goal was to go back to the HOA and come up with something that they could approve, and sort of a little give and take kind of thing. So we finally had that meeting last week, and the board did approve another solution, which is what we have here, and I just sent this in the other day. I apologize for not having it sooner. But basically what they're saying is, they're going to, our big thing is we wanted to keep the white vinyl. We just felt that the wood was not a good look for that location, considering the things I just mentioned. So we proposed to them that we keep the white vinyl, but that we go more of a style like the picket fence that are in the homes in the back that are in wood, which is
This one?
it's the long fence style. Well, that's the one that's the one we're proposing. But the one that they had in the HOA, which I think is also in the Haymarket ARB, it's the,
That one?
similar to that, yes. Well, the one that's in
okay.
the HOA guidelines, and I think it's in the Haymarket guidelines, is like a long fence style. It's a picket style wood fence. What we have found in vinyl is as close as we can get, which is pretty close. It's got kind of a sloped center versus the straight center, and it's got ball finales. I don't know that it shows it there, but we have requested ball finales because that's what the long fence style that they're saying in our HOA we need.
Okay, so
So-
these would be balls instead of the caps
Yes.
that go on top.
So the whole fence, the new, and what they are not allowing is privacy fence, which we had asked for a long, they're not allowing that. So, and we also had that between the two houses, they're not allowing that. They're not allowing privacy fence, period. So what we decided, or what we requested is that we can, ask them if we could still keep the white vinyl, go a little closer to their style, which is a picket fence, still 4 feet, but with the slope and with the ball finales. Now, the difference would be, in comparison to what's across the street, those are more the straight
Right,
pickets with the square colonial top finales. Is that how you pronounce it?
Finials.
Finials, thank you. So we think that this solution sort of ties in, because it's white vinyl, it kind of ties in with what else is on Washington Street. But because it's been approved for our house, it's already pre-approved for the 4 houses next to us, should they decide to do a fence. So that if that flows down the 5 houses, it'll now abut to the end where they have the wooden fence in that slope style with the ball finale. So it's kind of like a transition fence design, if you will. And what we're now proposing is that we just do the picket fence 4 feet along the 4 sides. We're not going to try to do the privacy on either side. 3 sides.
I was gonna say, you're gonna fence in the whole
Yeah,
thing.
So, yeah. So we have a new design. I don't know if Emily gave it to you. It's very simple. It's basically the 4-foot shoreline courtyard picket fence, which will go along the 3 sides, along the property line. It will not go on our full property line on the other side because we just don't feel we need that much fencing at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
So if we don't have the privacy part, we're just like,
That's the
yeah.
point, right?
I like everything except for the ball
Finials.
finials, finales, because I just feel like with the Craftsman style, everything is straight. You know what I mean? And then this is like round. I like the other cups better because I feel like it's just more
Except their HOA won't let them have that.
streamlined.
Yeah, so,
So interesting.
Change them and see if we get the HOA, see if they complain, it's only gonna be.
I'm just thinking of the whole line of houses.
I agree.
You know what I
And,
mean?
You know, we had to compromise with them, and we're compromising, I feel like we're just trying to come up
I
with a
know.
solution that,
I feel bad for you because when all of these guidelines were brought in, like those, your little row of houses was never considered. It was, they built back there and of course they owned the property, but
right.
you know, that's a whole different situation because now you front Washington Street, so.
This argument, we've been going back and forth
I-
for weeks.
I
and
bet.
weeks, and then they all have to meet as a board, and then.
My
the
money's
board-
on you.
board members- Yeah, so, and so now they have to vote on it again if we go back, I'm imagining. Based on- Because what they're doing is they're establishing a look now for the port. They're actually making a
Exactly.
change to the docks to now be for us and for all
For
the
those.
port. So,
I know.
Matches what's in the back already with the wood fences, so.
Right.
I think, you know, I mean, I agree with you 100%, and I'm all for like making what looks best. So I would be happy to go back to them. I just don't know if it's going to be productive.
Could we do a conditional thing that our first choice would be to have those and let her try? I would hate to hold them up getting a fence.
I know,
Again.
but we really do need to think because
Yeah. No, but I
if
mean,
they say no and they only allow the balls, like that's the whole row of
Yeah.
houses having that, and I just don't know if that's gonna look good.
but it's in their HOA documents that were already approved
Maybe we
previously
should
when
meet
the
with the
develop-
HOA.
Well, they are, and they're changing it to allow vinyl because their HOA says wood only. So
Yeah.
we feel like we've made some major accomplishments.
You have.
Um,
No,
well, what I was
that's
gonna
not,
ask is,
can we?
can you make, actually, is
Can
that the
we?
case? I don't know.
Emily's like,
That's really a
Chicken and an egg.
possibility?
Only because the property's front Washington Street and the historic overlay. I mean,
I mean, if that's
We
the
can
case,
try.
we would go with the straight, I mean, I would keep the straight fence. And the slope.
We can try, but I don't think we'd have our answer tonight.
Yeah, there's no way.
So you would prefer, what would you prefer?
Wouldn't you prefer the straight? What we originally proposed, the 4 foot.
was the straight.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, we're fine with doing away with the privacy fence, I get that, you know.
Yeah.
We'll do, and we'll make the, you know, just a smaller, amount of square footage or, linear footage. But I think we would prefer the original design, they really,
Because I feel like it goes more with the style of the houses. And not that there's anything wrong with this style, but just to me, the style of the house doesn't go with the fence.
Plus the fence that's right across the street. You're
it's
closer
right there, I know.
to that fence
And you drive
on
through it,
Washington.
you want
Yes,
any other, I agree.
right.
Do you think Emily could talk to them?
Well, you can't even, the HOA association, there are 4 members, they don't even give you their information, you have to go through the management company. And the management company approaches them, and then they have a meeting on it, which is their monthly meeting. So this is why it's been, you know, it's.
We're happy to provide the information.
Yeah.
It's
We
not
can.
easy.
I mean, I don't wanna add more work, I just,
But maybe Emily could send a letter on
well, that's what I
on
was.
town letterhead,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think-
stating
yeah.
that we, due to the fact that it's fronting Washington Street and it's not,
And we're
In the
setting a
back.
precedent.
we're setting a
for all the
precedent for the rest of the
houses.
street
And
on
they'd
Main
be fine
Street.
with that, cause they're in the process of setting a precedent for the 5 houses. So
Right.
Yes, I mean, that would be.
It's all in the wording.
Greatly appreciated, and I think it would be just, you know, do our house justice and its
Mm-hmm.
location for the other homes. I think their concern is gonna be that once it gets down to the end and abuts their houses, it's not gonna look like this. Their biggest concern is that people in the neighborhood have what they have, and they're like, well, why do they get to get that, and we have to have.
Because you front Washington Street, that's why.
And it's a new style and
Yeah,
everything.
totally different style. You need a
Than the houses.
transition anyway,
Right.
so,
So,
Phase 2.
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Time
Well-
change.
Well, I appreciate your
Yeah.
suggestion on that, and I would like, and would like to try that, but if, you know, if we don't, I mean,
So how do we do that?
So, yeah, What would you like us to do with this COA then? Do you want us to hold on to it or put a vote for you to follow through with this? Or what would you
Well,
like
if-
us to
if-
do
if we
to try
can't
and help
do
you?
The solution that we all like, would you still approve that?
What if we amend the original COA to have this condition that if the HOA does not go with what we're requesting as the town, then they may do an option that you have here in front of you? Or do you want them to come back if the HOA says
Right.
no?
You want to just maybe approve the one that,
Right.
the straight one, and say, hey, that one's approved, and see if we can get them to change their mind.
Right.
And then,
I'm just nervous if we say that,
It's public record what we
yeah,
say,
and I'm
so if they
I'm
see
worried that they're
we're
gonna
willing to back
say,
down.
well, they said no, that you can do it if we say that you have to. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want them to think that, I would
Oh, I see what
rather.
you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think our only risk at this point would be, I can't guarantee they'll say yes if I contact them, and you might have to come back in March.
And I don't want you to feel frustrated, but the only thing is I'm just worried because it's all the houses. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure
If
that
they
we.
didn't approve it, are we allowed another amendment to get approved? Like if we,
Oh, I don't see why not.
sure.
to come back
Yeah,
to the
of
original
course.
idea? So
Yeah.
we go, you don't approve it now. We go back and you're only approving the straight fence. We go back with that, and then if they say no.
The
it can
straight
come-
finials, right?
Straight finials and the fence, or just the finials?
I think the straight fence with.
Oh, you want the fence too?
And that was what they
Oh,
said
I-
was
I
their
com-
preference instead of
I
the
completely
slope.
missed that whole thing.
Well, I mean, at this point, I think, we'd take either. We would prefer the one, but I don't, I just don't, we've been back and forth a few times, and I don't know that they're gonna approve this, two new things.
My focus was on the finials, I wasn't
Right.
focusing
Okay,
on
no,
the fence.
On the scallops and
Yeah.
all that stuff, yeah.
The scallop, that's the term, thank you.
Mhm.
Well,
Um,
I guess the only recommendation I could make for privacy, though, is pick the right shrubbery, and you can get some type of.
I think I think that's what we finally resolved to, is that we'll just do something there that'll provide some privacy, and that still will be the 4 feet
Right.
of whatever fence it is. So I think we're fine with that. So our biggest challenge was getting it in white vinyl, and I think we did do that, so.
I feel like a letter from Emily will help, and if we explain why we think that it needs to be that way because of the architecture of the houses, that it's on Washington Street, that it's a completely different style than the other houses that are close to it. I feel like that might help.
Does that give you enough bulleted items to
Yes.
address?
I think to
But-
give her more, you need to make a motion to approve that style of fence and, carry it through.
Which
Right,
style?
so the Cecil, you're talking about the Cecil, right? That's
I'm
what you're
talking
looking at?
about the shoreline courtyard picket is
But-
what we had approved.
Originally.
We're saying
Originally.
the original one was the Cecil, I don't have that in front of me, but it was the
I don't have the original.
the 4-foot, yes, the same that's across the street. It's a Cecil 4-foot straight.
And that's what you
Yeah, 'cause
prefer.
that's all been
I mean,
approved already.
Because we
right?
can't do the
We've already
privacy,
approved
right?
that, so what we're.
So the alternate is the straight Cecil, right?
Which
That's
is what
you're-
they have across the street as well. They've got 2 sections.
Which is what
and
was
that's the
approved.
Right.
other part.
Just minus the privacy
Yeah.
fence.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I say we prefer it, but we prefer what's approved too, so we
Well,
want to have a fence.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but I think that we have to approve something
Right.
so Emily can send them a letter and say, this is what.
Yeah, amend it without the privacy
Yeah.
fence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then go forward with that.
So the original application without the privacy fence, but the smaller square footage. Is that what I'm?
Yes, yes. And I can send you a new,
Okay.
all the details and specs for that,
Okay.
to be able to use for a
Okay.
letter.
For the letter. Okay, so,
I'm sorry.
It's okay, I appreciate it because
We'll put it in the document.
in the end, in in the end, we do want it to look good, and I appreciate, and originally, we were gonna come here and sort of just see what you thought, so that we could go back to them, but then they
Right.
had their meeting, and we went ahead, and that way I had something to come here and say, this is what they're approving. So it's kind of been a back and forth, like which comes first, but,
Right.
so, anyway, okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
So what do we have to make a motion? What are we doing?
To approve.
We're amending
one.
the,
First.
what was that? The ZP, which one was that?
2017-027.
Okay, let me just ask a question. Would it be easier to approve this application, change the fence style, because it's a whole different location and everything?
So the way we put it onto here was an amendment
Okay,
to the
okay.
original application. So I would amend the original application with the new information, smaller
Okay.
square footage, removal of the privacy fence.
Okay,
And,
Got it.
But keeping with the original fence.
original style.
Style fence. yeah.
Okay. So moved. So moved. You got that?
Who's gonna?
Are you gonna second?
Oh, I didn't know. If
I
we had to
really-
repeat all of that.
No,
again.
I
Oh,
said
you're
so
saying
moved.
like
Shelley
that.
was writing it down.
I second the motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. I think we got everything under control. Any last minute questions? Okay, we'll put it up for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good.
We like
Thank
seeing you, but we hope we
you.
won't have to see you in here. We'll see you.
Walking by and saying, we like your fence.
Fence.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I guess next on the agenda is the Haymarket Baptist Church fence.
So for this one, the original fence that was proposed in this site plan is, it's too tight to fit in there, and so they need to come back and change the fence type. The company has said that they're unable to put it in with the existing fence around the playground. So if you look at the large document I laid up there for you guys, in red squiggles, that's where the fence would be going. So it's back around the playground in the back and then along the empty lot that's currently there to the left of them if you're facing the front of the building. And then it only comes up to the existing board fence on the backside of the veterinarian clinic, and then there's a chain link fence that runs to the front of Washington.
Okay. Go ahead.
So it's a mixture of chain link and
Chain link that was never approved. It was
Never.
before.
It's a pre-existing condition
Condition.
of the site that was never approved
And is not an approved fence style today.
and is not an approved fence style today.
Hi, I'm Dan. So,
Hi,
Hi.
Dan. Sorry.
I'm, how do you say, the head of the property committee at Haymarket Baptist Church. At a Baptist church, when you miss a council meeting, you become the head of a property committee.
That happens here in town too.
Yes,
So,
so, anyhow, I think, well, the chain link fence, I think, was actually replaced. It's a black powder coated chain link fence now, and it's, I think, 6 or 7 feet tall, I can't remember. The reason it's all chain link is because you should see the camera systems in that preschool. They've spent $300,000 on security. And the reason it's chain link is because they can see through it to see if there's any predators or anybody coming, any threats, potential threats to the children. That playground has 3 houses, we need, what, 340 kids for that preschool, something like that.
Mhm.
And what really stinks is, I would like to have a board-on-board fence there, but Beitzel fence, Betzel fence said they can't get in, and it gets 6 inches, because we're literally be slammed up tight up against the chain link fence. So, what we're proposing is a single-sided fence, a tight-fit fence, and I think you guys even, I think it was even brought up that when you drive into the Haymarket Baptist Church parking lot, you'll see the 4x4 post, and then you'll see the cross members of the 2x4s, okay? Because the finished board fence is going to be on the other side, facing those nice cedar trees that nobody's ever going to see in that vacant lot until it ever gets developed. So
And what's the reason they can't flip it and put it the other way?
I don't think I would, if I was a potential buyer for the next property, I wouldn't want to see the backside of that fence.
Well, we don't want to see it from Washington Street.
I don't know if you will. I think you really
I'm
have to,
just-
you really have to almost stop, and I don't think you'll see it coming down, and you would only see it obviously coming.
Just like we weren't going to see the blue. I'm not trying to be harsh
No,
or anything
but-
like that, but over the past several years, and the church is one of our oldest properties. I mean, it has a lot of historic significance to the
Right.
town, and a lot of changes have been made, and I'm sure you have not been a part of that, but at some point, we have to say,
Right.
we got to start cleaning this up, you know? If you're gonna, when you just said that chain link fence got replaced, I just cringed, because,
Well, wait a minute, yeah, go ahead, go
Can I-
ahead.
So the chain link fence he's talking about is the one that's by the playground.
Playground, the top
With,
line.
so when the new site plan was done, that is, if you look at the red line, there is a fence that goes around, and it says, it's very small print, it says existing 4-inch chain link gate fence goes around. That is the one that he has mentioned. The other chain link fence that I was referencing is the one that runs right down the property line.
this one,
Yes, the
Yes.
one, the circle in red.
yeah.
So there's two. Let me,
Either way,
yeah.
chain link is not an approved
This
fence.
is the newer one back here that is brown around the playground. This is the existing, chain link fence.
Where's that?
Typical chain link
Where's that?
fence.
Say it, do it again.
So you have here
Mhm.
is the new one, and here is the old one that runs.
I think we have too many different styles.
So yes, it is two different styles.
It's just one, just this straight line is gonna be the wood fence? Or would be the wood
That's
fence?
that is to get off bond. We have finished all the plantings, and I was in charge of, I ran everything from the asphalt, I took all the bids, and, basically, it's been a 15 to 20 year, task. It's taken us 20 years, and nobody would step up and do it. And fortunately, but unfortunately, my wife is the associate pastor over there. So, I kind of went like this. So whatever. This is to get off bond.
You were
This-
voluntold to
Yes,
do it.
I personally don't understand why, for safety, I don't know why the fence has to be slammed up against a chain link. And I even said, hey guys, we're going to have to take this portion of the chain link fence down and put a board-on-board fence. But I understand with all the kids, after a couple of years of splintering, I can't have kids rubbing up and down a board-on-board fence with possible nail pops. It's black powder coated finish right now. That's why it's soft to the touch. And I agree with it. That's why it has to be there. So this is to get off bond. All I'm proposing is, we'll keep it board on board. Where the veterinarian fence stops is where our fence starts, okay, a board on board fence. Soon as it hits the chain links, I'm just proposing it go to a single sided. Because and if you don't want that, no, then I'll leave it all single sided but I think
It's
that's gonna look
just
worse.
so many fence styles,
It
all.
It is, but our dumpster enclosure is board on board with a single sided opening. It's not board on board gate opening. It's single
Is that
sided.
approved?
Yes, it's per plan.
That I would have to.
Yeah.
look
I'm
at
not
the
trying to be,
site
Right.
plan,
but
I've been in construction 15 years. I have a small business. I've never seen a board on board fence though opening. It's always been constructed that way. It's
Right.
always been board on board on 3 sides, and then the front 2 that swing open
What is
because
the
of weight
purpose of
weight
the
restrictions.
no,
wood?
and the trash enclosures, that's what we show in our guidelines,
Yes.
is here. But what is the purpose of this fence? That's what she's
The
asking.
purpose of this board.
The purpose of this fence, if I had to look at the site plan, not being at the meetings or knowing previously how it got approved, it was to meet the requirements of a buffer between 2 parcels.
Mhm.
So when you have a B1 and a B1, I think in this instance you actually have an R1 because the church is, I believe, zoned residential. I would have to look at the exact zoning, but you have to have a certain buffer yard in between the two. And so if you provide this privacy fence, if you will, then the buffer can be wavered, it can be minimized. There was an existing fence on part of it, and so this was probably the best solution that everybody came to because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the playground already existed prior. And so it was already right up against that property line. There wasn't the option really to move the whole thing, your 10, 25 feet to get your landscape buffer in. So the fence became the solution.
I don't like it either. I personally don't like chain link mixed in with wooden fence. I think we've got too much going on. At this point, I wish it could just be, and I know it's not what you guys would prefer, if it would had stayed chain link. But at this point in time, obviously, we're not gonna go and change the entire tot lot fence to the board on board, and plus it just wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be safe to the children.
What about, go ahead, Juan.
So the church is zoned residential, it's not like a special use? Why is it zoned residential?
It's just a
You can have.
non-conforming,
Yes, so it's one of the older lots that had that zoning in it. You can have a church in a residential
right.
zoned parcel. That's a very common thing in the county.
But
and-
even though it isn't a residence, we still have to have that.
If it's zoned that, then those are the guidelines when they do a
Buffer.
site plan we have to do. What about,
But and here's the thing though, per approved plan, per plan, it's, the entirety is supposed to be board on board. And I wouldn't even, and that's where the whole hiccup began. I'm just trying to keep it simple.
I understand that.
And listen, I understand, I'm like, again, I'm part contractor, I don't know why joist hangers couldn't be installed in the board-on-board fence and slightly go over the top of the joist hangers. However, I know that's gonna be cost prohibitive to the church, because I know what that's gonna do. I'm gonna have a hard time finding a fence company to do it, and then it's gonna be me doing it, because you're looking at the guy who's on the excavator for 2 weeks over there, tying everything in. So,
See, this is the problem, though, when the site plan was approved so long ago, and then all,
yeah, that's right, it was. But it's been a lot of modification, because stormwater, we've had a lot of stormwater
right,
management
no,
systems, things like that,
absolutely, but,
completely redone.
so all this time has passed,
Yes.
and then the veterinary clinic came in and put their fence in, and
Right.
all these other things, so if you had just
Yes.
had your fence done then,
Right. We still have that terrible chain link fence that divides us in the vet. Have you seen that thing? That thing's
Don't.
dilapidated. That thing's, you know, I mean,
it's my pet peeve, so I'm just like,
I'm here to work with you.
could we do like so the kids wouldn't rough up their hands, could you do like like the, well, like the fence we just, the vinyl fence?
But that would mean that chain link would come down, and I'll tell you something right now, that the relationship between the preschool and the church can be
I know what you're
less than
saying.
desirable.
Yes.
It's a tough struggle, and we've even had pastors come and go because of it. So I don't think I would win that battle. It's almost like what you just had here with these people fighting their HOA over there, and then trying to.
But me personally, I mean, my daughter went to preschool at Haymarket Baptist, so I would rather have that board vinyl blocking the property that's gonna get developed than have everyone able to see my kids playing on the playground. I mean, that's just me.
And again, the bid that I received was almost free for this thing. It was $5,200. That is nothing. You can't buy the wood for that price. So this person is being generous as well, who is one of the friends of a trustee.
Right.
So
And I understand that, but
So
it's such a slippery slope for us to,
So, I know I'm asking too many questions probably. Instead of a chain link fence on the whole entire property, wherever there's a chain link fence, why couldn't there be a white vinyl?
because they don't want to replace it all. It's cost to them. That's what they're talking about, it's cost.
Because you could still see through it.
I don't understand why the current chain link that's there, it can't exist, can't act as the buffer, and then we proposed no more fencing. Slapping a fence up against a fence is just, I don't understand. I can't comprehend it. It makes no sense. It's not even, why can't we just do the white vinyl privacy fence from the vet to where it starts to the chain links and then call it a day? Because it's still going to cost us more. I'm telling you, the vinyl will wind up costing more. but I'm just trying to come up with a
What?
solution as well.
What would we have to do? Does the site plan
A
have?
plan revision, see, that's what, then, but Emily, see, that's a big deal. I don't know if it can be done.
Can we check with
Remember
Martin?
Patrick, you've done, had a lot of deals with Patrick Moore, and I don't know,
I didn't get that opportunity.
so,
Let me look if it's an administrative change I can do, but that would most likely be something we have to take back to planning commission to get an
Right.
amendment to this site plan to change the buffer. But again, where it was done so far back,
correct. That's
then
an
you
issue.
get a little bit of
yes.
that coming in.
So we're talking about removing the fence right there and putting up a white vinyl fence.
No, right, we have, no, I'm maintaining the chain link that's there. That chain link was replaced, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago.
Don't, la, 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 la.
However long ago it was.
It wasn't approved, don't say it.
Black powder coated chain link fence, and it's like 7 feet tall, I believe.
So it would still be a fence against a
Yes,
fence.
that stays, because it goes around the entire, I mean, it's probably 1,200, well, I've got 245 feet, 200, 500. I got 675, 700 feet of, new installed chain link fence that, I know, sorry.
So the fence at the veterinarian clinic is wood, right?
Yes, and we're,
From
we
what I
would
remember.
start, yes, that's an old board on board, right, Emily?
Yeah.
Right.
And that goes, it's not a big piece.
It's not big at all.
It's very small, it's behind a dumpster enclosure.
And then
So-
it makes a turn too as well.
Yeah, if you actually drive back there,
Mhm.
based on the vegetation that's currently there, the chain link fence around the playground, the turn down the driveway,
Yes.
you really only see about 10 feet of this whole fence.
That's it.
Of the board on board?
Of the,
Of the
that-
board on-
that's on the vet's property, correct,
Mhm.
yes. And
Yes.
that's why the whole board on board came up with us, most likely,
'Cause if
when
you
this was
look,
done.
they have a dumpster enclosure, it's in small writing, it
Yes.
says existing concrete dumpster pad.
Mhm.
So the way the dumpster is situated, you actually don't see a lot of their fence at all. You do see the chain link fence that runs then from the dumpster pad to the street along that drive. But in the back of the property where the red squiggle lines are,
Mhm.
that even, as it exists now, I mean, you still don't have a lot of high visibility
Nope.
unless you're in the parking lot. Now, once you're in the parking lot, you'll see it.
Yeah, when you come around the turn, and you
Yeah.
come around,
Mm-hmm.
the church is on your left-hand side, and you're behind it, there's another playground in that corner right there. That's when everything really becomes visible.
Yeah. As for changing out the fences, reading our ordinance, I believe that can be an administrative minor adjustment or deviation from the final site plan, so that is an option.
But
I'm just
You're out.
beside myself. This is no offense. Like I said, my daughter went to preschool there. This is my biggest pet peeve over the last 2 years is all the changes that have been done, like the awnings. And they said, well, you can't see them. You can, because I pull out that street every day when I leave my house. So, we're trying to be considerate of the fact of the money that's been invested. However,
I understand.
I'm just trying to think about if they put a fence, if it would be better if it's wood or if it was white vinyl. But then I'm thinking since the
But
fence
then you'd
at the
probably have
vet
to go to
clinic
the vet
is
and they'd have
wood.
to change theirs as
Well,
well.
because theirs is already wood,
And-
so it might, but the church is white
And our
and
board,
the
and
fence across the street is
our
white.
dumpster enclosure is board on board
Oh,
as
it's
well,
board on
and
board.
it's single-sided slat on the front as well.
Yeah.
To address it, I don't think you guys have any plans on taking out that other chain link fence between the driveway and the vet either, right?
Might be a compromise where if it means that we would, if you wanted that changed out to a 4-foot-high vinyl in lieu of us, again, we're trying to get off bond. There's quite a bit of money that was put on the bond. And this is the last thing that I have to have done. And then I hopefully can roll off of this committee.
Forever.
So that
I hate to
could,
say it like that.
that could be an option,
Right,
is.
yes, that's it's an ugly
Because
fence.
I think part of the issue I think I'm hearing from the ARB is that first chain link fence that you really see from Washington Street, it's an eyesore. We don't allow it in town, and it could be.
But then, you're not saying we would have vinyl, wood, and chain link though, right? All on the same property?
Yes, that's what she's saying.
Yeah, the back end would be the
Can I propose this,
chain link.
Emily? What if we were to do the 4-foot vinyl fence in between us and the vet? Tear that fence, get that fence going, put the vinyl fence there, and then I pick it up where the proposed board on board on the site plan would start, and then that go to a vinyl as well, privacy, just to the chain link fence, and then
And
stop.
then no fence after that?
Well, I don't under, yeah.
Well,
I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I would rather have that.
You would.
You follow what I'm saying? And then I think we can maybe put it for discussion that if the owner who purchases that other property, and I get what they're saying, if those cedar trees that line there,
Yeah.
you can't, it's a thicket. I don't know if y'all been back there.
No, it's a thick tree
Yeah,
stand, yeah.
you can't, but if I was the potential buyer, I'd probably leave that there. But if somebody decided to see that, then you're like, well, wait a minute, why does that vinyl fence stop right there? And now I'm looking at a chain link. And I get that as well. But I think a good solution for now, like I just said, 4-foot high, vinyl down there to replace the one in between us and the vet, and then pick it up and then do the privacy.
Vinyl.
Vinyl, privacy, yes, to the chain link and then stop. It would flow much better.
For an example of what it might look like, not
Now,
that this has to be the
what
one,
chain link
if
are
you
we
look
talking
at page
about?
Hold on one second.
52 and
Page what?
51 and 52
In
from
our
the
packets?
Shelby's. Yes.
Oh.
So those are some
Okay.
examples of what the privacy and a ticket may look like, is what they had originally proposed for their application.
right.
And it has the picture of Haymarket
So
Station.
like that one right there in between the vet, like the 4-foot high, that in between the vet, and then pick up like a privacy from the.
Right, so-
From
To me, there's just so many fence styles back there. I'm just trying to
I agree.
move in a positive direction
That's
as
what's
opposed to.
existing at Haymarket Station, across the street
Yeah,
from
that
the
even flow
church.
sheet would look like, it would even, see how that jaw even goes to privacy, mine would just be lower 4-foot, and there's nothing to that privacy.
Yeah, so kind of like this. So, it is,
So obviously though, Emily, you and I have to also
We
figure out
have-
about, since it's proposed on the site plan,
Yes.
if we can even stop, does that make sense?
yeah, so it would have to be an adjustment to the site plan that could be administratively approved according to our ordinance,
Right,
and we can go from there, but we need to clarify if you stop the fence at the front of the chain link on the
Correct.
playground,
correct.
is that gonna?
The buffer.
Right, is that
Understand.
gonna meet our buffer, cause it's a see-through, I hear you on the cedar trees,
Yes.
it is a see-through fence, and then we would have to somehow have in writing, the moment that property's purchased, say it's tomorrow, that
Okay.
you guys will do your due diligence, you'll go back, you'll put that fence in, you'll come back here. So,
But again,
it's a solution,
but again, to get off bond, what has to
Right.
happen, right? To
right?
get off bond, what has to happen?
We have to have some sort of a solution tonight with this back here. If it's an adjustment to the site plan and everything is done in writing and agreed upon, then that could get you off bond.
Okay. Well, and again, I guess, I'll back up, I'll make this, I don't want to belabor the point, but had I got just a board-on-board fence to get off bond, I wouldn't even be here, correct?
Unfortunately, yes. 'Cause
So
that's what's
that,
on the
I'm just
site
trying
plan.
to get all my options, so when I go back to the council meeting, I want to make sure I can present them with options as well, because it can be done, and I know it can be done, that a board-on-board fence can be put in there. The cost, if that's less than doing all this vinyl stuff, you follow what I'm saying? They're probably going to go with that option and just get us off bond. But I'm also here
Right.
But go ahead.
I mean, we could also send violation letters for all the violations on the property too. So it's a let's work together and get this property
Now,
up
remember,
to standards.
That was the preschool.
No, and I understand that, but you are,
Right. Well.
you're responsible for the property. You know, they're,
Sometimes, yes. That's why
they are tenants to you, so.
That's why I was even in charge of it when those canopies were put up. I had no idea. It just got done. So you see the position that
No,
I put in?
no, and that's why we
Right.
told them when that happened, you have to have one point of contact for the property and they
Yes.
need to come
Correct.
and here you are.
I'm so blessed. So I don't know what, if it's the best route is to go and do the 4-foot vinyl and then come to a privacy to that, I guess Emily, you and I might need to do some research on that
Yeah.
and see if we can,
Because it'll involve talking to the current owner of that property,
Yes.
get them to agree to it on paper, you guys to agree to it on paper, the town,
okay.
everybody come to an agreement and put it in writing.
And then that carries with the
And
site
that
plan.
carries-
It's
yeah,
attached to the site
That carries
plan.
with the site plan, it carries with the property.
But do we have to go back and then do we have to go back in and resubmit plans again?
No, no. You'll still be under minor adjustments to the plan, because you're not reducing or altering the percentage of land shown as grass or landscape. You're
Okay.
not expanding the building size or area of the lot. You're not reducing or changing the efficiency of the stormwater system, and you meet all state, federal, and local guidelines.
So it's just a minor.
So it's just a very minor adjustment.
Okay.
But it would still take getting every party involved who shares a view shed here to agree.
Would you help me get into communication with that individual?
Yes,
Do you think they'd be willing to discuss that option to leave
I
that
think
open?
so, I think so.
Because then we're gonna come right back to the drawing board if they say no, they want to see a fence there.
Yeah. I think they'd be amenable.
You think so?
Is that the property owner that complained about the drainage?
No.
No,
he's-
No,
this is,
okay.
this is actually.
I was like,
He's a
oh.
great guy, I talk to
Okay.
him all the time.
If this is still current, it is actually B and Smith,
Okay.
so I think, based on their other properties they own in town.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can we agree that, if he was feasible to say, no, okay, no, I don't need that privacy fence there, I'll look at chain link, and then I get our committee to build the privacy fence from the vet to the chain link, and then I'll replace the chain link that goes from Washington Street to that, do you follow what I'm
With the
saying?
lower
Can we
picket.
agree on that?
The straight white vinyl picket.
Yeah, I would just like to get and then Emily and I obviously have to do some work. Can we submit that? That way if it's done, I don't have to come back again? Not that I don't bother me, but can we get that approved based on?
How do you feel?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we can at least be moving in the right direction.
Yeah,
Just to make sure I understand, show me on here, where we talking, the privacy fence from where to where, and the non-privacy fence from where to where?
Privacy fence from here to here,
Right.
and then non-privacy fence from here to here.
Got it, okay.
This is the property of
Got
the vet. This is the vet.
Yeah, I got the
This
bit,
is
gotcha. Okay, got it.
this is where the fence is supposed to begin, right here,
What do you think about
and
that?
this is your
I think
This
tot
is
lot.
privacy.
I mean,
Right there, yeah, there's your
Okay.
tot lot right there.
Okay.
So we're trying to remove this
With the
fencing,
vegetation.
and then this, see this fence right here that goes all the way down in front of the vet? That's an old dilapidated four-leaf chain link fence. And I'll replace that with a
gotta make sure
4-foot
that
high
there's a condition
white vinyl
that we will
picket fence.
readdress.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then here, we'll do the privacy just to here.
Up to from here to
Yes,
here.
sir. And then we won't need to do any of that, based on approval from the owner of that piece
All
of
right,
property.
okay.
You can have it, that's my, I got 10 of those copies.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we wanna do the, like you say, the privacy fence from the black chain link fence to here, and then the not, the picket fence to here.
Yes.
Is-
Okay.
So, one thing we might need to get them to do is this piece here, the chain link
Okay.
ends there. Now, this is vegetation back in here, but there is no fence there from that chain link to the back of the property line.
Yeah, and I think what we can do there is put a clause in that if the property gets
Oh.
developed, and that the neighboring property gets developed in which that buffer gets removed, that the fence will be the responsibility of
Okay.
the church, with future, addressing it in the future of what is necessary at that point.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because right now with the buffer there, you're not gonna see it. But the moment that gets knocked down, then it could be a different situation. So we gotta address that now, saying in the future, this will be addressed as your responsibility to repair.
So you're thinking in the future, putting like, what kind of a fence here?
So I would
At
say.
that time, we would discuss
At
it.
that time, you guys will discuss it. But hopefully the privacy white vinyl fence is extended the length of the property
Eventually.
eventually.
Yeah.
Or whatever
Oh,
fence is seen fit, but hopefully it
Right.
matches
So we've started a
we-
trend, hopefully they'll continue it.
Right.
But if we put that default clause in saying it's their responsibility if that buffer ever gets removed, we can readdress it then, because at that point, maybe they don't want the playground here, and that fence could be dropped and a privacy fence could be put in, the
So
link fence.
currently, you wanna do privacy fence from here to here.
Yes. And then you'll have the privacy
Mm-hmm.
here to here.
Here.
And then the short white will go in and replace an existing chain link fence.
So, so that's fine with me, but I guess my only question is there anything better that we can do? Is that it? I mean,
I think that's probably a good compromise.
Moving forward, that this all has to tie in, and if the new property owner comes and they take that tree stand out and they don't have fence,
Okay,
they have to readdress.
okay.
They have to, you have to.
I'm fine with
They're
that if you,
responsible
that
to
would, because
readdress it,
I like the fact,
correct it.
again, you're taking down the old chain link fence, so at least we're moving forward in the right direction.
That's my thing. At some point, we have to move in the right direction.
So this would
I
be
mean, I
good.
understand that there's all this history and blah, 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 but at some point, we have to say, okay,
Yeah.
So this would be a good
Moving forward,
step.
yeah.
Okay. Good, okay. Hopefully,
okay.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right, you're good. So I think,
Normally, I don't really know how to address this since there's really no COA, right? I don't think I have a COA here.
So we'll just have to create another one.
How do we do that?
It's an amendment to.
It's an amendment
Amendment
to
to property,
Site plan from
Site plan?
1834.
yeah.
I'm gonna mail you a chain link fence. 'cause you- I know
Please
how much you
don't.
like that.
Please
Do you have a
don't.
chain link fence in your front yard?
Let's do it as an amendment to the approved fence on the site plan for the Haymarket Baptist Church.
Is there a date on that site plan or a site plan number?
Yeah, I
Do
don't
you have
know.
the original?
I do, let me see.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of documentation we need for this, so
there's a date.
We refer to the site plan, but good.
is that all we need? Our minutes will take care of all of it, as long as they've addressed it. within
I
the
see a
site
date
plan.
on this one. Is that what you're
Yeah, it's
looking for?
just on December 15,
Yeah,
2000.
for 2015.
December 14th,
2015.
15th.
12, 14, 15.
We can do up a COA, we can give it a new number, and in there put that this is an amendment to the Haymarket Baptist Church site plan submitted on December 14th, 2015, and we can go from there.
Okay.
Is that how we want to do it?
Yeah, I'd prefer some type of paper trail.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be ZP 2018-007 amendment to the Haymarket Baptist Church site plan. Submitted December 14th, 2015. to amend the proposed board-on-board fence along the western property line from Washington Street to the existing chain link fence at the playground with further documentation and agreements between all property owners to be approved. And once that is approved and signed by all property owners, then whatever is done tonight will then go into effect.
Okay. So it will be a vinyl 4-foot picket fence, white picket fence from Washington Street back to
Dumpster enclosure of the vet.
the vet's dumpster enclosure, where it then begins the,
Pick up privacy vinyl fence to the existing
Existing.
tot lot chain link fence and then
Okay.
stop.
okay, so moved.
With the clause that.
Wait until they do a second and then add the,
Okay,
right?
well,
You mean in regards to the owner of the property, correct? Is that what you're stating?
mine is a future clause in which if that buffer gets taken down there, the fence needs to
tree
be
stands.
readdressed, the tree buffer.
Yes, we will put that in the written agreement between
Between the
both,
property owners.
both
Okay.
property owners and with the town.
And I will ask, now listen, I will ask, everybody knows, church, we're a growing church now. We've been blessed. And they may even say, you know what, just to appease the ARB board and everybody else, they might go board on board all the way down. Maybe they'll just keep the vinyl fence going
Okay,
along the chain link. So I'm gonna ask that as well.
okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah. We would like to,
Privacy
I
fence,
mean, if
white
the,
vinyl all the way down.
Correct.
if
That's
the,
what I mean, and to include the 4-foot picket vinyl,
Yes.
okay? Because of
Yeah.
all of because of the preschool mess ups. I'll get them to pay for it since
Yes.
they've got Ms. Edwards very upset over there.
so, I mean, if it's
And my
all
wife
done
probably
at,
taught your child, by the way.
if it's
she's
all
25 now, so probably no.
Probably not.
if it's all done at once, I mean, that would be ideal for the ARB in the town. So we would like for that to be addressed with your church council, but we will also have it in the
I'm
agreement.
gonna ask. It
Yes.
never hurts to ask.
Never hurts to ask.
They can only say no, right?
Maybe their checkbook, yeah.
That'd be great.
I'm also
All
good
boils
friends
down
with
to
Joyce
money.
Fairfax,
Oh, you are, sweetie.
so add that.
You're so funny.
Yeah, put in there big letters, bond is requested.
Okay, so we've got all that in there, and now we need a second, right? Okay.
Second?
Okay, we got a motion and a second for a
We
COA
talked about this
amendment
enough.
that we're going to have. I'm assuming we got all discussion out, but just one last chance for anybody to bring up a last-minute thought. Anybody? Okay, we'll put it up for vote then. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are good.
It was nice to meet you.
See you later, John.
Thank you, you too.
And thank you to Emily, she's been wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, we know she's good. Should get rave reviews. You get 5-star ratings every time, Emily.
Need a rating tab on our new
Right?
website.
I think we could add that.
Maybe not. Okay, so,
Yeah, now we'll move on.
next,
This is ZP 2017-029.
yes. So since we met last, the applicant was able to get a structural engineer out there to look at the home, tour it, and do a report. So you will have that report starting on page 62. And there's some pictures that go along with it. So after I received this report and read it, I reached back out to Tom Basham and asked him, and you'll see on page 68, is it a possibility for this structure to be moved and relocated elsewhere? And is it a possibility for the structure to be lifted up from its foundation, replace the foundation that is currently not structurally sound? And his answers you will see at the top of page 68 kind of address that and say, no. Short answer is no. He kind of gives an explanation here that the structural stability is not sufficient to do these. He mentions kind of like a wet cardboard box, the bottom might fall out. So I will ask the gentleman here to address you guys, answer questions. I know this is an application we've been working on, came up back in the fall. It was before its last meeting and tabled. And then further on page 70, at the last meeting, we asked for a basic concept, and we also asked to kind of see an idea of where the houses would be located. So these were provided as well, and this is just a general concept of what the developer here feels would look nice. This will all come back up for discussion at a later date if this is to be approved. And then page 71 will show you the layout of how the two homes will sit on the properties. Since our last meeting, it was determined these are two parcels and they are legally subdivided. So going forward, you are looking at the home sits on 6810 Jefferson Street, and there is a second lot beside it, which is 6812 Jefferson Street.
So,
So this is just to get approval for demolition to build new structures, but we're not agreeing on the structure that will be built.
Correct.
Correct.
We are not agreeing tonight on a structure that will be built. They will have to go through the site plan phase, then they will have to come back to you guys for the architectural review board to agree on everything on the site. So tonight, you're just approving the demolition permit, and with that, our guidelines allow for any condition and recommendation that the house cannot actually be taken down until the new plans are approved and a permit is issued.
Can we also make recommendations for styles of the future houses?
If you want to provide those recommendations tonight, yes, I believe that you can do that. That gives them something to work on, and it kind of helps them actually jumpstart their process so that they don't get 2 months down the road with an approved site plan and then have to come back
right.
and start this all over. So if you have recommendations tonight, but just keep in mind that that then carries with this, and it is on record as a recommendation.
Mhm.
So
Do they have the copy of the rendition of the proposed style?
the
This
Venice-
one, yeah,
the Venice
this one. So I just had a quick question about that. The accessory structure, is that a detached garage or, yeah? So would both houses have that or just the one? So the other one, would it have a garage with it or no attached? I gotcha, okay.
How do you get to that accessory structure?
Up the driveway along, and the lot line?
Oh, it's not like a driveway going to it. I live really close to here. I understand where this drawing was from, as far as looking at the houses that are on the same side of the street. I also really love the two old farmhouses that are across the street from where this would be, that are next to the railroad.
With the
Provi-
porches
provide
on
them
them.
a- Provide them a buyer and a proposed site plan, he'll build it for them.
Just letting you know. What are your thoughts? I mean, initially, my thought was, of course, to save the building, because I love to preserve our history, and so I was sad I couldn't go to view the inside, but I'm glad that everybody, was able to go inside and to take a
We
look.
can still arrange a tour for you.
Thank you. You might not want that, because I like to save old buildings.
Well, trust me, we would too.
She saved one in town, so she really likes to save them.
I mean, it's, we do understand that, but it just,
I understand. If, and I I want our town to be beautiful, and so I understand and adding new buildings to that area. So I mean, I'm okay with that as long as the structural engineer has said it can't be moved, you know.
But I'm going to say for the record again that I'm very disappointed that people buy properties and let them deteriorate, and we
Yes.
really have to stop that process in town, because we're losing our history here.
We are.
So we really have to, seriously, some of these properties that are going downhill, we have to
Do our best.
do
to
our best
save
to
them.
institute the blight ordinance and send these violation notices, because otherwise, you know.
Yes,
We'll be back here again.
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody have any other thoughts or questions?
No, other
Or
than,
your overall feel from going inside?
you know, I didn't, I mean, I don't know, I mean, my, going inside, again, I don't know. It was what you expect. But.
When a
again-
property hasn't been cared for all those
Exactly.
years, that's
Right.
what you're gonna get.
Right. But, you know, anything can be repaired, sort of, but in this case, again, it
Right.
just depends on what the engineer says.
When you
So if
let the weather.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. So if the engineer says it can't be saved, I mean, what are you gonna do about that at this point? But again, I agree.
Was there a bathroom in it? I'm just curious because I didn't get to go in.
Yes, at one time there was.
At one time there was, but there isn't right now, right?
No.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much gutted. There's,
Well, and there were so many additions, like little
Yeah.
lean-tos and stuff put on, so the
And as you-
basic historic relevance is with the original portion of the house, not with
Yeah.
all the other.
and if you looked at the structural engineer's discussions, he did say that some of the additions on it have actually weakened the main structure if they ended up tearing
Right.
down that portion to save the main piece.
Yeah.
He said it's probably going to collapse because of the
holding it up.
bird's nest cuts and
Right.
everything else that they put in the supporting structure.
Yeah.
So I'm kinda at the point of it just, you know,
Yeah.
it's gotta go. I mean, that's, you know, I mean,
I-
I feel, on a positive note, I feel fortunate that, you know, someone's actually gonna, you know, it's not gonna sit there another 5 years at this point, right? It's, you know, gotta go, so at least we're gonna put something nice in place of it.
I would say too, but like reiterate what Bon said, just considering with this house style when you come back, not just the new houses here, but also what's across the street and the older.
Like the metal roofs and that kind of look.
Yeah.
I understand, and it'll be, up to the builder to come up with a cost-effective home to put on there based on the size of the home that he can put on there and the materials that you put into it and what price range that will bring, and is that gonna be a compatible price for the neighborhood as to what they can do? So
think it
all of
would.
those things would go
I think
into
so.
determining what house is gonna be put up there.
I think that we all love the older looking buildings, and since we're taking an older one away, I know I would personally like to see something replace it that looks older.
It isn't
Just giving you some recommendations.
Because even though it's not on Main Street, it is a gateway coming up Old Carolina into our town, so. Food for thought.
Should we ask for any kind of, like you say, we were talking about documentation?
Yes, we
for the
need-
museum and that sort of thing?
Yes. How do we do that, Emily?
I would make it a condition of the approval, and then we need to state in there, though, that the town does not have a professional photographer that we use or that we currently are recommending, so they would have to source that.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody knows of one
What are you looking for? I'm sorry.
We, typically, if there's a historic structure that comes in for a demolition permit, we ask that they photographically document the house, and any materials inside that we could maybe use at the museum and things like that. A lot of times, like, and I don't know, I asked when we toured the house if the family had any pictures or anything, or you can go to the library. There's a lot of stuff at the public library that we found on other historic buildings here.
I know my parents have a book that had some of the buildings from Haymarket in it, including ours.
Right.
So I could ask my dad to look to see.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you stipulate black and white photos?
I-
And this,
Does it say black?
Our guidelines do stipulate black and white.
What?
I mean, I think we would take anything that would,
okay, then my follow-on question to that is, we provided you a number of pictures and documentation and things like that, and we would need some guidance as to what additional pictures you would like to have. We're willing to take them and provide what exactly you want, but we have to know what you want.
Page 79, 80, 81, and 82 are the pictures that have been submitted so far. So we would need electronic copy,
Correct.
obviously. And then,
Well, then maybe what I can do, Emily, is I can give you the file that we have of all the pictures, and you all could review them and see if that would be sufficient, and if not, we could take whatever else you'd like to have.
this is what we're looking for.
are these
Yeah, I
the
love that.
only photos that you have?
No.
No, there are more, okay.
I mean, basically what we want is anything that documents what the property was
I'll
during
take-
its.
I'll take whatever you would like.
I love
I just
these
need to know.
older ones.
I love the old one. I mean, when the house, obviously somebody was in
Right.
there.
And unfortunately, that picture is a copy of a copy, so.
Right, well, sometimes you take what you can get, right? But I would say, I mean, do see if somebody can go to the there are a lot of pictures on, at the library on the history, you know. Can ask the librarian there and they're very helpful.
You can even call them and tell them. I would check with the one right here off Lightner Road, the Haymarket Gainesville Library, and you can even call or email them and say, I'm looking for photographs and documentation on this property here in Haymarket, and they'll pull the files for you prior to you getting there.
Yeah.
And they'll search the system in the county.
Or they'll tell me there's none on file.
Or they'll tell you that, but we've had pretty good luck with some of the homes in town, that they actually have, where we used to have a historical commission, they got documents from that, they have documents from town, so.
We certainly will be happy to go look for it.
And especially since the rail stop was down there, there is probably,
I would love to see pictures about the railroad station that was.
right?
We have a picture that Shelley is gonna show you after the meeting that we found in her office of the old depot, so.
Can you get it?
See?
It was, you want me to get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a book out there also, you're probably familiar with, about Haymarket.
Yes.
And
Is that the one Sarah did?
A Town in Transition.
anyway, the owners gave me that copy, and it was, she had it all annotated, anything that had to do with kind of Haymarket, talk about train schedules running through and how it went all the way to Strasburg and when it came back. And,
Right.
And the pond that was there and how they went ice skating on it.
You know that, is it once or twice a year now they do, the steam engine comes through?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's,
Ah,
So
how
it
cool
was
is that?
there, it was a real thing.
It's a big one.
yeah.
It almost
No.
looks like the one in Herndon.
Where'd you find these?
In the museum. And so the public library does have documentation of this.
So you laugh at us, but it's out there.
No, I didn't like it.
I don't know if you guys saw. I'll get and pass it.
That is so
So
cool.
imagine if that was still there.
Right?
It looks so new.
It was new at one time. Right? Isn't it? It's so cool.
It
So this used to be down there near the
This was
railway
right over
track.
there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Take a picture of this.
And so
Take a picture of
there's
the
a
picture.
story
This
written
one.
up on it, and I believe the Transition
I'll
and
set it here
Haymarket
until
book
after. I'll help you.
that has, it kind of tells stories of how they would come to town, and this was one of the stops. People would get out, they'd go get their snacks, they'd walk up into town.
Awesome.
Yeah, they'd have time, and then they'd walk back and hop back on the train and keep going, so.
So
There's that bit
cool.
of
It's like a little
history.
Hallmark movie.
It is. I love it.
What happened?
What happened?
Where'd it go?
People bought the property and didn't take care of it.
So there you go.
That's what
Okay, that's
happened.
what happened.
Okay, I'm done
What
with
happened
that.
to the train depot though?
The train depot, I believe, was torn down because they no longer made stops.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the store, there used to be
Grainy.
the general store that was down there on the property, I think 2 over from this one, that also went out of business, torn down.
Mhm.
So,
Do you know when was that picture was taken?
probably somewhere on their files, we'd have to look.
Okay.
I would say, yeah.
Okay. Well, time to move on. We gotta get this meeting rolling.
And I don't know, I didn't pay that close of attention. I mean, I looked when I was at the house, but if there's anything in the house that you think is original, like, I don't know, a doorknob, I'm trying to think, even,
If one of the
Switch.
windows is, I guess the windows are out, if one of like the windows is salvageable.
even the frame, not, it doesn't have to have the glass in it, or any,
I understand.
we would like to have that stuff for the museum.
No, there is a set of windows in that living room,
Right,
remember?
yeah, I
Those
remember.
Those were, as I understand it, I'll have to ask the owner on it, but she told me that those were brought in from another house. in
Okay, then we
another
don't want
county.
them, then we don't want them.
Right, so.
Like I said, if there's anything that can be authenticated, like that you, or they know, or anybody knows, you can, like photographic, like if you go to the library and they give you these pictures and you say, oh, look, this was original to the house. Something like that, right?
Yeah. Typically an element like the door or window is,
Mhm.
or if there's
Okay,
a,
I'm gonna ask another question
Mhm.
on that. I mean, because if I go out and look at it and say, well, there's nothing there, you gotta take my word for it, but on the other hand, mine kind of.
Do you
has-
want someone to go and look
I
and
would-
see?
I would-
That's what,
I would like,
Bond would love to do that.
you wanna see the house
Volunteers.
anyway,
Yeah.
so you're more than
You
welcome.
must
to
wear your
come out and
galoshes,
You can look
though.
at anything, I'm sure that anything that's in the house, because, Dolly's had, her daughter come through, and they've already gone through it and picked out some trinkets that weren't, I think they're, old water bottles and things like that, but they weren't.
Right.
So anyway, you're more than welcome to go down. I would make arrangement, just let me know.
Okay. I definitely will. That would be great. I can't wait.
There's this
Thank you.
card.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you must take a flashlight, though.
I will. I have one.
I'll leave it there.
I confessed to my husband, I will tell you. I dropped my flashlight on the way home, my husband's flashlight on the way home, and I was just gonna put it back in his uniform for work. And I felt guilty, so I told the truth and said, I broke your flashlight.
You're gonna put it back broken.
I was. I thought about it, but then I thought better of myself. So anyhow,
So do we have to make a vote?
you have to make a motion.
Yep.
I can't make the motion, but somebody else is gonna have to.
Principal.
And I tried in here to think
Do you
about
have a
some.
form of a motion?
I do. Page 61. I tried in here to think of some conditions that you guys might want to attach with it, but if there are others, let me know. We will do a nice rewrite of it. Or if this is not the motion you want, let me know and I can rewrite you a new one. But it should be on page 61.
61. In front of it.
Got it?
The building permit for the new construction Is that obtained after?
The site plan.
So they will have to go through the planning commission for the site plan, the architectural review board for all of that. And then once they do the proper bonds, all of that stuff is recorded. They then go to the county and they come back to me and say, here's my building permit.
And then they can take it down.
And that
Only
is
after all of that.
correct. And that is a condition that is in our guidelines. So that is a precedence that we will
Okay.
work with. But it
Okay.
is one that we have already in our guidelines.
Okay.
Is this, okay, all right. I motion to accept ZP 2017-029. I make a motion to approve certificate of appropriateness, there we go, already got that, to demolish the residential home at 6810 Jefferson Street with the following conditions. The owner hire a professional photographer to document the home in accordance with the historic guidelines, and the demolition may occur only following receipt of a building permit for the new construction, and we request permission to go in and remove anything historic value in there for our museum.
I will second.
Okay, I got a motion.
The two preservationists over here aren't going to motion in
That's
second.
okay.
I got a motion and a second. Last chance
I
for any
respect
type of
that.
discussion. Do you have any questions before we vote?
I'd like to hear a yes.
I think
Okay,
we
I'll-
should do a roll call vote.
Okay,
I'm just saying, it's a big deal.
yeah, since this is a big deal, we'll do a roll call vote on this one.
Andy,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Edwards,
The words just have a hard time rolling off my tongue. Yes.
Cavazos,
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll work forward with you and get in touch whenever you'd like to see it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, guys.
You guys.
Thank you for sitting through one of our longest meetings of the year.
We were in and out the last time, I'll be home for dinner.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Give me some guidelines.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, we're not done yet. We're not done. Okay, on old business, we have the gateway signs. What I really want to do is try to make another work session for this, because as you know, I kind of sparked it again by throwing you guys a picture. Sorry, Madhu, that you didn't get it yet, but I didn't have your email address.
I'll forward it over
if you
to him
could.
first thing in the morning.
Yeah, that'll be your first introduction to it, but to me, that was the best design that
You're
I've
gonna
seen
do-
so
I
far.
was like, I could do that right
And we can go through a discussion on that, but how about if we do it an hour early for the next meeting?
That sounds good
What's
to me.
what's that date?
That will be the 21st as well.
Oh, yeah, we're in February, 28
And-
days.
Yeah.
Is there any direction that you guys would like to give me, things you want me to research, any cost estimates, styles? I will have a full set of our colors. I'm working right now on our street lights. We're working on getting the exact color match of Hanover green that we always used. So I'll have that updated information. So
I would say to reach out to our VDOT rep,
Okay.
Yeah.
just saying, our VDOT rep and see, I think we spoke to them about, what is allowed and easements and things like that, and see if we can narrow that down to see how much space we're gonna have and what will be allowed at the different locations.
And I have an email out to Tina Briganti-Gunn at VDOT. She is supposed to be in charge of finishing off the diverging diamond with the Chick-fil-A wall, all of the landscape planting that needs to be done.
Right.
And so I'll try to pull her in on that one as well, because she's the design build manager for
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah, because we will definitely need to work with them on the location of the major sign.
Okay?
which would be somewhere along that, right before the divergent,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, the diamond, somewhere in the area where they've constructed the
But we,
divergent diamond.
yeah, we just need to know where our easements are gonna be so we can do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Let's do total how many signs we will have.
4?
4 or 5? 6.
I thought it was
actually.
6.
Yeah.
I
6,
believe it's
so-
still the 6, the 2 on either end, the one on the far side of 15, the one at the railroad tracks on 15, Jefferson
Something on
Street,
15.
And Old Carolina.
and the other railroad tracks.
Yeah, she said
Yes.
those.
Yeah, so,
Old Carolina,
Or
Look
Washington
like flight
Street,
attendants, y'all look like
and
flight
then one on
attendants.
15.
yes,
and total cost also.
okay. Do we know how many, I guess, stone signs we're thinking?
I was thinking one.
One
I was
major
thinking two.
I was
sign,
thinking 2.
or, so I'll get a price on one,
Mhm.
and then obviously we can multiply it by the however many we want. The other signs, though, were we thinking on Jefferson Street and at the railway tracks, will they be similar in style to like the Loudoun County sign that's further down
Right.
15? So it'll be a pole and a nice plaque?
Either that,
Ish.
or I was thinking for Jefferson Street, something similar to just a speed limit sign.
Oh, no.
But again,
We have to make it pretty.
Well, you didn't like the incorporation with the town of Haymarket corporate limits sign?
That pretty green one? VDOT green?
that's what I said, we have to check with VDOT to see
If we can piggyback that.
what's permissible, so that's a
So I'll-
huge,
Yeah, I'll get a couple prices on different styles of ones that we talked about at our last work session. I will send you all of the information from our last work session, and we
Yeah,
can.
I mean, I guess we're probably looking, the two major ones are on 15, right?
Yeah.
And one of the major ones on 15, I think, is kind of difficult to
main,
do.
yes.
Because they're going to elevate 15
Well, see,
over
that's
the
the
railroad
thing.
tracks.
We
And
might
the moment
have
they
to-
do that, that'll be destroying.
We might have to defer that one.
Yeah.
Put it in the plan, but then wait until the overpass comes on the railroad tracks to actually put
it
that
in
in.
place, yeah.
We can wait for that one.
Yeah.
The
Right,
railroad track,
but
yes.
make the plan,
Yeah.
so then,
And I know we haven't, have we agreed on the locations? Because whenever I think about them, I always picture them on Washington Street, coming in from both sides, but I know you don't. You picture it like if you're coming from Leesburg, right?
No, that packet, didn't I get you that packet? It
Yeah.
kind of identified all the locations
That you wanted, right?
that I thought were
Yeah.
appropriate, or
Preferable.
I don't think anybody really identified any other locations that would be of
but again, I
importance.
think we need to check with VDOT
Yeah.
to see where we can have easements, and that might answer all the questions.
That's true.
So
for
as
us.
soon as I hear back from VDOT, I'll go ahead and send it to you guys, and then you guys can all be thinking about what are your hot spots, where do you see the main ones? And we can go
And then
from
maybe
there.
we can all talk about it and then take a vote. And if everybody votes against my thing, I will still love you all and I'll still be your friend.
No one likes my speed limit sign.
We'll take a vote.
We'll take a vote.
Exactly.
Okay.
So March 21st, 6 p.m.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we're all looking at you like, what?
I have a couple items, if you don't mind. I'll keep it quick.
Okay.
I noticed that there's a large chunk of fence down between Carry to Full Term and the Winterham property, which is now, actually, that back parcel is Daisy Wood's property. I've already notified her. We already spoke in person. She is well aware of the issue and is working on getting that replaced.
Who is Daisy Woods?
She owns the Iceplex and
yeah.
Piedmont Tire and Auto.
And she owns that parking lot?
So she has purchased the back parking lot behind Winterham and will be submitting an amendment to that site plan to fix up the parking lot and use it for her overflow parking at the Iceplex. They'll enter from her private easement on the other side
Okay.
and block off the other entrances behind Winterham. So that should be coming soon. We're still waiting on that. And
So it'll
have
just be
them-
parking.
It's just parking for now.
Okay.
That was one. We're working on getting a new spec for our street lights. The company we previously used went out of business, so we're working with someone new to match them as closely as we can. I'm working on the paint color. It's a lot brighter and fresher than obviously what's out there
weathered
now.
ones.
So we're working on that. We're working on getting some new banners and things like that to just clean up town. So
Okay.
Did you notice the new yellow sign that's on the building with Foster's up above
Miss
that says
Roberta Randon's
space
remodel
available?
sign. So for
Yeah, I saw that today.
for sales signs, there's only so much we can have purview over.
Oh, okay.
But I will look and see if we can get it taken off the building, and put at least in the grass. That was kind of the issue we had with Winterham and that big white purple sign. They have shrunk it down, I believe, or else my eyes are messing with me.
No, I think they did.
I think they did. So I think she finally listened and shrank it down. But we only have so much we can say on real estate signs.
I understand the location because I think it's good because I understand they're trying to fill that space. It's just the sign,
Yep.
you know.
Also, to
look
piggyback on
of
the
it.
real estate sign, did BB&T make their sign smaller at the old BB&T bank? It looks different to me, and then there's this big white post next to it. Look,
The big white post I think previously had a BB&T sign sitting on it.
oh,
So
that's
it's a
what that
remaining
was.
structure, and I think they did update their for sale sign.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought.
don't know
Okay.
if they switched realtors. I'm not sure why it got updated, but I do believe it was updated.
You're right, though. That was the
Yeah,
monument where they had the BB&T on top.
Yeah. And there is a temporary sign on the Foster's building as well for compasses or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
I'm assuming that's going to be taken care of as soon as a sign maker puts that in.
Where on the building is it?
Second story,
Okay. Oh,
By-
one of those banners that,
yeah, it's a temporary,
Okay.
it's a temporary sign for, I guess, a new company
Everybody's
that
doing
moved
that.
in. Just want to make sure they are in process on creating a sign in accordance with their sign
Right,
package.
right.
And
while we're on the topic of those types of signs, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the backside of Cupcake Heaven's building, the Bloom Building. If you look up at the railings, there are banners that are attached in front of every single business on the second story and the third story. I'm working with the new tenant in Allstate. He's in the top far right corner when you're looking at it. So we're working on a new sign. However, there's jazzercise and
They
all
all
the
need to come down,
Okay.
right? I mean, they're not approved.
right.
So they need to come get their signs,
I just was
right?
getting direction from you guys if we're
No, I think,
on the back side of the building.
Is
go
there a
ahead and-
solution to this
They have
vinyl sign issue? Because I
Well-
know that people keep putting them up because they feel that they're not getting enough exposure.
So
Is there something that we could come up with that's like a flag or I don't know, something?
they have the option, they have multiple options for that kind of purpose to get their name out there. They have A-frame options, so all of them also put an A-frame out. And they leave it out, they lean it up against the building at night and they just go stick it back out in the daytime. So there are other options, but it is on the backside of the building. I don't know that it's necessary unless you're just looking up from the parking lot to see where they're going.
Because I was thinking even, I don't know what you guys think about this, but like flags,
right.
like an actual, flag on a pole. Because it's
We have a
cuter.
flag at the museum that says open. Also, on
They could have their logo on it, or.
the banners that go on the light posts, they do offer banners that you can have done that
Oh,
say,
yeah, we've talked about
we've
that
talked about
before.
this, dining or shop or, I can't even think, there's different things that you can put on the banners to draw attention to some of these areas. So,
And we have 2 banners.
we have 2 sides, right. But then we have to also think, is that considered another sign for them? Like, we could just do generic,
Yeah.
Dine,
Shops,
shop,
restaurant, or
Right.
whatever.
park. So
Right.
maybe we lump that in with our sign work session,
uh-huh,
and we all think about it and kind of come up with our solution,
Yeah.
and bring that back up at that work session, if that's.
I don't know if you could, but could you have like a flagpole holder on the balcony railing?
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that it would like come out from the building, because that might be cute to have like their different flags, and plus it's something that they can change easily. They
Be an
could even
option.
put different ones. I'm just thinking, I'm brainstorming, but they could put different ones for
Yeah,
if
let's
they're
think
having
about
a
it.
sale, or
Right,
we can talk about it at the meeting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm just brainstorming.
yeah, no. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's definitely different ways to address it.
Rather
The on-
than just putting up these big
The only
banners.
restriction on the flag bond is no single lot shall display more than 3 flags in commercial or industrial zoning districts. So I think maybe if you guys have time to read the zoning
Yeah.
sign ordinance,
No business.
No lot.
no single lot. So the blue
Oh.
building has, let's just say 6 tenants.
Only 3 of them could.
How does he pick the 3?
Oh, okay, that might not work then.
Well, they can also put can't they put like a placard sign on the back where their door is?
And I believe they do all have one. And then in addition, they have jazzercise zip tied to the fence.
No, that has to come
and
down.
those things.
No.
So I'll work with them to
Meow.
clean that up for now, and hopefully we can come up with a solution to offer them
Yeah.
for it.
And also, I think you and I talked about the sandwich boards.
Yes.
Like, they're getting a little brazen with their placement of the sandwich boards. Like, they're supposed to be closer to the business and not out on the sidewalk, right?
So I can walk around and talk with the businesses kind of in person and let them know this is a VDOT easement where you're putting your sign, and they'll come snatch it. And
So
we
if you
can
don't wanna
start-
lose it, yeah.
we can start with that approach.
Okay.
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 Something
You have
to
more?
think about.
Yeah.
That's all you have? One thing that I didn't go through, which wasn't on the list, I didn't go through planning commission or committee,
Or the
Updates.
council
the
updates.
council updates. So, council updates?
I would say, the property, and this is the planning commission too, we'll probably have this, but the fairgrounds property, is tentatively scheduled to settle within the next couple of weeks, so that's gonna be moving forward. So they'll be coming before us with designs and all that kind of stuff, for the buildings, and they'll be getting their streetscape going, and from what I understand from Emily and Jerry, that they're on a fast track, they wanna move, so, they're hoping to get that done. I think that's it, just trying to get these signs and, huh? Oh, the 3 rezonings, as you come out at the corner of St. Paul and Washington Street there, AC Watts property and the 2 brick houses next to it were rezoned to transitional commercial. But all of those houses, just so everybody knows, someone buys the property, they're all 3 of them are more than 50 years old. So if they want to demolish and build a different building, they will be coming to us. So have that in your mind. I mean, they're all significant in their own way, but probably some are more significant than others, I'll just say that. And maybe if we could reach out to the Watts about the paint. It's like they painted it, and I appreciate them trying to make it look pretty, but it's not done, and I'm not sure the colors are.
Yeah, I believe you still have one hillside, you did not get it done prior to the winter months.
And I'm guessing that's the color, so it's approved, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, but they need
I
to
mean, it definitely looks better.
cleaner.
I'm getting, it's growing on me. I think so.
So I think that's all we have for council, right?
What about that chain link fence around it, though?
Funny story.
A black one would be so cute.
A black chain link fence?
No.
So,
Wrought iron.
so keep that for thought when the people come to, whoever buys it and is gonna put a business in it. When the streetscape went in, I was not on council at that time. It was in between my stints. But from what I understand, Mr. Watts, who is now deceased, negotiated with the planner at the time. They had to take the chain link fence down to put the sidewalk in. And supposedly, he negotiated to put chain link back up. And I was a little perturbed because it wasn't an approved style, and that was a part of their negotiation, whatever. So we got a brand new chain link fence.
Can't wait for one day. I hope whoever moves in there doesn't like it and they want to replace it.
Yeah. Well, definitely, if you put a commercial property in there, it doesn't allow access to the property, so
Yeah.
I think that will be in, So anyway.
Okay.
But what do you have?
Planning Commission, we did not have meeting. We canceled, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So no updates.
Okay, so,
So that made it quick. That's
Yeah.
good. So
do we have anything else, or motion to adjourn?
we are on the next item, which is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a second, motion a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Very long meeting today then.
It was, but we got a lot accomplished,
did.
right?
Yeah, longest I think
We
I've
stayed,
had.
we stayed strong.
Everybody decided